Looking for magic cards? At flipsidegaming.com you can now use the promo code LVD to get a 10% discount on orders over $10 while supporting the channel at the same time. So pack one, pick one. We've got a Priest of Forgotten Gods, pretty powerful card. If we can make it work, which is a pretty big if, since it does require quite a big commitment to make it work. Looking at the uncommons, some nice Azorius ones, Skyguard, Deposed Deployer, both excellent. Cold Guildmage, a great Rakdos card, and then looking at the commons, we've got Grotesque Demise and Lawmage's Binding as standout cards. Best cards in the pack in general, I think, are Binding and then the two uncommons. I think I rate them a bit higher than Priest. 6 mana is a lot, but the effect, of course, is pretty impactful. So I don't mind taking the Skyguard, and then hope to wheel one of these Azorius cards. And of course Skyguard's still very splashable, since it's such an expensive card and only single blue, single white. So if we end up in some sort of Esper deck, black-white splash blue or blue-white splash black, Skyguard is still totally serviceable. Speaking of which, Consecrate Consume would pair nicely, since we can splash it in either one of the decks alongside the Skyguard. So I think we take it over Courier, which would fit a bit better with Skyguard in terms of colors, but a lot weaker individually. And early on we want to be taking the most powerful cards, and this also happens to pair pretty well with the Skyguard, so no reason not to take it there. Alright, first interesting decision. Best cards in the pack include Skewer the Critics. I guess the rest is kind of on the same power level. Messenger, Beastmaster, Code of Constraint are all fine, unexciting. There's also Guildgate for fixing. So taking a white card makes sense, since we know for sure if we want to play both of these that white is the overlapping color. Whereas taking a blue or black card, it's unclear whether we're going to play it as a splash card or not, which does influence its power level. So it does make sense to just take the white card here, which is Messenger, which is totally fine. Alternatively, we could take a Guildgate to improve our mana base and maybe have a few gates already in case we can find some of the gate payoff cards, but I think Messenger's fine here. So now it's between a second Messenger, a Thrall, and a Guildgate. I think I prefer Guildgate over Locket at the moment. And I guess there's also Skitter Eel in case we want to take a blue card and commit more heavily towards Azorius, but I don't think that there's a great reason to do that here. I mean, we could still easily splash Thrall in a blue-white deck alongside Consecrate Consume, so I think that's fine here. Over Guildgate, and then hope to wheel some of the Guildgates. Alright, the black and white cards keep flowing. Final Payment seems great here. Sky Tether can also be nice if our win conditions rely on flying creatures, but it's kind of a nombo with Consecrate Consume, since they can just sacrifice a creature that's enchanted with Sky Tether, so I think we'll take the Final Payments. And we'll take another one. Windstorm Drake is also interesting, but it does get a bit weaker if it's on the splash, since this is a card you want to cast on turn 5. So I think we just take another one. And now we can take the Plaza, or we can take a Locket. Consign's also consideration, but we can usually get one later, and I only really want one copy of Consign anyway. Junk Trawler can also be interesting if our deck is super low on win conditions, to make sure we don't deck ourselves, but I think we're doing okay in terms of win conditions, so not too worried about the Junk Trawler. So it's really between Plaza and Locket, and we're looking like black-white is going to be our main color combination, and then the black-white Locket fits in pretty nicely, and also plays well with the more expensive cards we have, so we can curve into Locket and then maybe a turn 4 Grasping Thrall. So I think I prefer Locket slightly, but it's close with Plaza. If we're just going to be black, white, splash blue, I also much prefer the Guildgates over Plaza, so we don't have to pay the extra mana. So I think I'll go with a Locket for now. And now we can take a Plaza since there's nothing else. Don't want a Watchful Giant. Fine pick here. And we wield Azorius Guildgate as well as Sphinx's Insight, but since we're splashing blue, I'm not too interested in Sphinx's Insight. We can take Dead Revels, which has a similar role as Sphinx's Insight to provide card advantage later, and having good mana is pretty important. I guess we'll take a Pegasus over Infiltrator as kind of a curve filler. We might end up picking up a high alert, and then Pegasus becomes pretty strong. Speaking of which, maybe we take a Wall of Lost Thoughts, just in case. Not gonna miss out on Giants. And now we can take Azorius Locket. And we wield Sky Tether. We're playing best of one, and we're probably not gonna main deck Expose. So might as well take the Sky Tether. And take a Veteran. Alright, so the first pack went pretty well. And wow. Opened Mass Manipulation, which is a super powerful card, but it's a very heavy commitment to blue. So what do we do here? There's also High Alert in the pack, which we could build around a bit more. Yeah, Mass Manipulation is going to be a bit too difficult to cast unless we pivot out of black into blue, which is still possible. Like, it's not like we have a ton of early black cards. Final Payment, Consecrate, Consume, and Grasping Thrall are still splashable cards. High Alert is nice if we can make it work. We already have Wall, Pegasus. Can pick up some more high toughness stuff. Could still see taking the Manipulation and switching over to blue more heavily. The thing is, if we take High Alert, we also have to pivot into blue a bit more heavily, since we're going to want to play this Wall, we're going to want to play Humongous, for example, and more blue cards in general. So they're both committing us to blue, of course. Quadruple blue is committing us a bit more heavily. And otherwise there's also Demise, Panther, Guildgate, but I think we're mainly looking at these two. Yeah, I mean, Grotesque Demise would be like the safe pick, but it's maybe kind of a boring pick. Don't have a super clear direction yet in terms of how are we gonna win the game. Just have a bunch of good removal spells and some solid creatures, a bit of mana fixing. So we could still easily be a High Alert deck, could still easily be a Mass Manipulation deck, could just take the Demise and stick to black-white, splash blue, not play the Wall, just splash Skyguard. If we had more high toughness stuff already, I would be more into the High Alert. I think I'm gonna go with Manipulation. I've had some good experiences with it already. Kind of just wins the game by itself if you can cast it in the late game. And there's a chance we still wield the High Alert for whatever that's worth. Alright, this is not the pack we were hoping to open, with a bunch of strong black cards. Third Final Payment, Oligarch, Juggler. But I guess there's also Lumbering Battlements, so that seems like a fine pick. Don't have any great synergies with it. If our opponent, for example, plays enchantment-based removal, then Battlement is also great. And 5 mana for 5 Vigilance is still reasonable. So alright, we'll take a Battlement and we could still be blue-white here. Well, the black cards keep flowing. Another Blade Juggler, Messenger, Insight, Plaza are the cards we're looking at, Panther perhaps. So right now we're looking to be blue-white splash black. So Blade Juggler, not the most exciting pick. Sphinx's Insight would be okay. Or we could take another Messenger. Don't have a ton of 4-drops yet, so both Messenger and Insight would be okay. Could see taking either one. Think I'll go with the Messenger. If we do end up somehow wheeling the High Alert, we also want more creatures in our deck. And if we somehow still pivot back into black-white, we might not play the Insight, whereas we're always going to play the Messenger. But I think it's close. If we had something like a Dovin's Acuity, then I would be more over the Sphinx's Insight. Seems like a pretty straightforward Night Arbiter here. Would play great if we wield the High Alert somehow, but also just a very powerful card by itself. Could take the Archway Angel here, only have a single Plaza, but we can try and pick up some more. Otherwise there's Arrester's Admonition, which is also great. And perhaps a Junk Trawler if we're planning on wheeling the High Alert. So it's between Admonition and Angel, I think, over the third payment. Admonition would be the easy addition. Angel requires a bit more work to be worth it. And I guess we're a bit low on 3-drops, so I think I'll take the Admonition. Alright, Skatewing Spy is great. Third Messenger. Watchdog, all reasonable. Probably want to take the Spy here. A 4/5 flyer is surprisingly effective since it can block all the smaller flyers in the format. 5 toughness survives quite a few removal spells. Do we want a second Guildgate? Or a second Admonition? Probably Admonition. Now we can take Courier or Spirit. The next pack is where we get to find out whether or not we wield High Alert. Courier would of course play a bit better with High Alert, and the double white on Spirit is also at odds with Mass Manipulation a little bit. So I think we take the Courier. And we got there, wield the High Alert. Perfect. Alright, let's try and make this work. Now we can take probably Thought Collapse, although Rally would play pretty well with High Alert. But we might just want to counterspell here, since we're shaping up to be a somewhat controlling deck. And we're a bit light on creatures for Rally. I think I like the counterspell here. And now we can take the Insights. Not a Courier, perfect. And I guess we're looking at Junktroller now. Over Angel, still only have 2 Guildgates for Angel. Junktroller, pretty good with High Alert. And a Watchdog as well. Alright, so we got there. And still have an entire pack to go. Well, it's not a bad one to open when we're in white. So I'll take that, and then hope to wheel Essence Capture, Humongous, or Guildgate. Do we want another Guildgate? Do we want Essence Capture? I think those are the main considerations. Skiriel is fine, but not all that exciting now that we're a High Alert deck. Essence Capture is surprisingly effective. And since we're pretty committed to Mass Manipulation, double blue should not be too difficult in theory. And then hope to wheel one of these Guildgates. Alright, I'm definitely into Sphinx of New Prav. Although it's kind of a number with High Alert, I suppose. So maybe we do want Night Arbiter instead. It's an interesting pick. Looking at our curve, do have a decent number of 4s already. We don't have to play the Grasping Thrall if we don't want to. This is more of a 4 as well. Yeah, let's take the Arbiter. Alright, I guess if they insist, we can take the Sphinx now. And could definitely use some cheap removal, so we'll take the Judgment here. Don't have enough gates yet for Colossus. Would also love Ors of Guildgate, but Judgment is just too good to pass up on. And now we'll take the gate over the second Insight. Do we want a third Final Payment? I mean, I guess there's nothing else we really want here. Don't know if we'll play all 3. We'll have a look in a second. Might want another Locket since we're probably not going to play the Orzhov Locket now. I guess Petitioners is also a consideration now that we picked up High Alert. But it's kind of bad by itself. So let's kind of build the deck. So I'm not sure if we want Orzhov Locket. Could of course fix our black mana if we don't end up with more mana fixing. But I would prefer to keep the Lockets blue-white to make it easier to cast Manipulation. So this is looking quite good, maybe a bit heavy on the 5s, can cut Grasping Thrall potentially. Late game is looking strong. Yeah, I guess it seems unlikely that we want a second Azorius Locket. Although it's not bad in this deck where we have this many 5s. Could maybe get away with 16 lands, double Lockets. Petitioners is a reasonable 1/3 body, but I don't think we're realistically gonna mill the opponent very often, since we only have Wall and Thought Collapse as ways to mill the opponent, so it's just a 1/3 that then turns into a 3/3 with High Alert, whereas I think Lockets offers us more. Because we have this Mass Manipulation, I'm not too worried about winning the game. Even if we don't draw High Alert in time, we should have other ways to win the game as well. So I think I'll take the Locket. And I think I'm into Guildgate here over an expensive win condition and a counterspell. Already have enough 5-drops that I don't think we have room for Humongous. Just want to improve our mana base. And I'll take another one, not too interested in Quench, since our deck is looking to get to the late game, at which point Quench becomes a dead card, and don't have any way of discarding it, don't have any prying eyes. Otherwise Quench would get a bit better as well. Alright, I guess if they insist we'll take one, but don't know if we'll play it. Another Lockets. Alright. Time to build this one. All those look good. Don't know how many final payments we want to play. Let's put these in a separate pile. So we've got all these cards to potentially splash. They might not even be necessary, but probably don't want 3 Lockets. Think we can get away with 16 lands double Locket. I think Humongous is cuttable. Although maybe 17 lands double Locket is still fine. Our curve is pretty high. And then how are we looking in terms of fixing? Yeah, I don't think we need this Thrall. How much does final payment do for us? Paying 5 life is a pretty steep cost in this deck. I think we just play Consume. And then we can be pretty light on the black mana. I mean, we don't even have to play Consume, to be honest. It's kind of a nombo with Sky Tether. And if we need to play Consume, we need to add a few more swamps to the deck and make our mana base worse for manipulation. We have a Sphinx that we want to cast on 4. So every swamp we add to our deck is a detriment. I think we can do without a black splash, to be honest. Just stick to blue-white. And then how many lands? 10. So we want to add 6 lands here. So we need to make 2 more cuts. Could potentially cut 1 messenger. Battlement is also not the most impressive card in this deck, but it still does have its moments where you just exile a creature that's irrelevant, turn it into a 6/7 vigilance that the opponent has to deal with, and then you still get your creature back if they kill it. It just has to be like a Lawmage's Binding that punishes you, or a Sky Tether. I think Battlement is still going to be better than Humongous despite the high alert. Yeah, I could see cutting some cards that are only good with high alert since we only have 1 copy. Junk Troller is still interesting since it can still prevent decking, but since we have Mass Manipulation, I'm not too worried about decking since we can usually win the game with manipulation if we get to that. So Junk Troller is not necessary. Wall I still kind of like as just an early blocker since we're kind of low on early blockers otherwise. So I think we'll just cut the Junk Troller. We've got plenty of high toughness stuff to go with high alert if we draw it. Double Courier, double Knight Arbiter. That we should be okay. So I think this will be our deck. And then the mana distribution, probably want a bit more blue than white, since we have all these blue requirements, but also don't want to go too deep. So let's see, 12 blue leaves 8 white. I think we'll just go with 11 blue and then 9 white, since we do still want to cast Sphinx and Angel. Alright, I think this will be our deck. Don't have a ton of card draw outside of the Lockets, so I think inside is okay. And I think Spy and Sphinx are probably better than Messenger most of the time. Yeah, we could take Manipulation as a picture. Mass Alert, sure. Alright, triple Guildgate Opener. Seems fine. Get to cast Essence Capture on 3. Wall on 2. Although I guess we can't play Wall on 2 if we want to play Capture unless we draw an island. Alright, opponent on Gruul. Looks like a gate stack. Alright, so we wanna keep this Essence Capture to counter their big payoff cards if we can. Did not find an island, so we'll play the Guild Gate. And then we'll keep up Essence Capture if we can. Gatebreaker Ram would be annoying since we can't kill it with Judgment. Aeromonculus, however, we can. So I think the play is just tapped Guild Gate, pass with Capture up. And the next turn we can play a wall. Or maybe Judgment, we'll see. Would be nice to get the wall down to put the counter on it with Essence Capture, but... Can also try and ambush Aeromonculus with our Angel. Wayfinder's acceptable. So we'll play the wall. Keep up Essence Capture. And then next turn we can try and ambush. Also get to mill the Spirit of the Spires here, which is pretty neat. Let's take a look. Opponent going pretty deep. Yeah, we could Judgment, but I don't think it's necessary. I would rather keep up Essence Capture and then ambush with Angel to get rid of Aeromonculus. Chillbringer's worthy of an Essence Capture. It's not a Gate Colossus, but Gate Colossus we can also Sky Tether. Alright, let's hope this Angel works out. They could have a counter spell, they could have an instant speed removal spell or bounce spell, or we could just get a free Aeromonculus. That's a nice animation as well. Om nom nom nom. Spider, sure. Can attack into it. If they had a +1/+1 pump spell, then they would have adapted and used it. So don't have to play around that. So this turn we can go lock it. Leaves 4 mana for Insight. I think we'll just main phase Insight. But we can attack first. Alright, Judgment kills Angel, can still use a 6 mana ability at some point. Admonition. I guess we're bouncing Pegasus, since that's the only thing threatening to get in damage. Could bounce the Spider, which is more expensive, but I don't imagine the wall's gonna die anytime soon. Alright, find our own Pegasus. Yeah, wall's been pretty good here. Could also sack the Locket instead of playing Pegasus. I guess that's better. Since we're not attacking with the Pegasus anyway, we're not blocking with it. So might as well just use our mana more efficiently here. Sack the Locket and then next turn play Pegasus. Alright, that one we'll have to answer at some point. High Alert's not bad. I think our Night Arbiter is going to be a bit better than the opponent's Night Arbiter. Ooh, hello. Alright, so this turn we unload all the creatures and then next turn we play High Alert. I doubt we have to play around a counterspell. So we can go Courier plus Night Arbiter and then next turn High Alert. Although I guess Courier doesn't attack into the Spider all that well. It does block Pegasus. So then the question is, do we want to make sure this High Alert resolves? And just play Night Arbiter. Take 1 extra from Pegasus. Or do we play Courier anyway to prevent 1 damage? And then next turn play the High Alert. Could our opponent have counterspells in their deck? It's not impossible. We're definitely playing Arbiter. think we'll play High Alert. Just want to make sure this gets in play. I don't think the wall's attacking, but it does play defense pretty well. Maybe next turn we can be more aggressive, but for now I think we want the wall back on defense. We've got a 3-turn clock with a Night Arbiter anyway. Watchdog is nice, so I think we'll play that first. And now we might want to attack with a wall, since we can protect it with a Watchdog as well. Still have the Angels, so even if we get low we can go back to 10 life. Can also untap with a High Alert if we want to, but I think we're just adding more stuff to the board here. Alright. So I think we'll put Spider first and sack Watchdog here. We could also keep Watchdog to protect the Night Arbiter, but keeping a 5/5 in play seems nice. If they have a bounce spell, this would be unfortunate, but this opens up the skies for our flyers. So now we're just getting in a very big attack next turn. Down to 13. Yeah, Sky Tether could give us lethal here. Or Admonition, it's probably safer. Could do both, but this seems fine. Lockets. Attack with everyone. And that'll do it. Sweet, so High Alert proving to be quite powerful here. Yeah, the sand seems decent, just need a 3rd land for Locket and then we're off to the races. I guess we'll play an island in case we draw island into our counterspell. Alright, we could be in a bit of trouble if we miss on a land here. Would be a shame to have to discard to hand size. Guildgate, a turn late, but I'll definitely take it over not drawing a land. Ooh, Gateway Sneak. So I guess we can go Locket and then Judgment to sneak. And hope they don't have a pump spell. Pump spell would be pretty devastating here. Could have also just played the Spy. That's bad if they have removal or a gate. Alright, please no pumps. Alright, that worked out. Alright, sadly we can't ambush the Night Arbiter with our Angel. So does that mean we play our own Night Arbiter? Better to try and ambush a creature with Angel and get that free card. Could also bounce with Admonition, but I think we'll play our own Arbiter for now. Yeah, the creature needs to be tapped for Judgment to work. Alright, opponent does have the High Alert combo. So we could be in a bit of trouble here. We can buy time with Admonition. I guess we'll start there. Like ideally we would draw into an Essence Capture here. Alright, the race is on. Sadly we don't get to add anything to the board here. We are a little bit behind here. I guess we can also manipulate the opponent's Night Arbiter. It's like playing our own and killing theirs. Could be patient and try and do X for 2, but that's gonna require 2 more lands. Alright, let's manipulate. X equals 1. Yeah, Mind Control seems pretty good. Ooh, wow. Playing our own Night Arbiter would have been kind of the same there. Problem now is that if we deal with the opponent's deputy, they get their Night Arbiter back instead of us getting it back. Could try and ambush with Angel, but it's unclear whether it's advantageous to give the opponent their Arbiter back. Tricky spot. Yeah, I think we just play our own Arbiter here. Hope they don't have a Quench. And I think I much prefer getting the creature in play before the High Alert. Duelist, 2-power creature here. Alright, could be in a bit of trouble. Yeah, that's a big one too. Even though it's not benefiting from High Alert, it's still an 8-powered creature that we can't easily block right now. We can potentially survive with Angel, so that's something to keep in mind. Angel can ambush the Duelist as well. Sadly, we don't have the mana for Angel plus High Alert, so what's the play? So what happens if we play Messenger plus High Alert here, hit them for 5 down to 11. Messenger blocks Duelist. We take 8 down to 5. And then next turn we could get in a nice big chunk. I think I like that. And then Angel prevents us from dying next turn. So it's kind of like a time walk. Although the Sphinx is annoying, Admonition was good. Alright, so Angel is going to be pretty critical here at keeping us alive. So our opponent's going to attack with Sphinx and Colossus. We're going to Angel, fog them, untap, and then Admonition the Duelist and attack for lethal. I think that's the plan. So we don't want to do anything else here. So we should have this locked up as long as our opponent doesn't play more flyers, doesn't have removal, doesn't have counterspells. And I guess we're attacking with a flyer as well. Not sure what that means. Alright, so we can die this turn. Do we even bother blocking the flyers? Doesn't make a ton of sense, right? Can just go to 1 and then don't risk running into a pump spell. That animation got me worried for a second as we dropped to -10. A Rubble Slinger we can bounce. So they should be dead here. Thought Collapse should definitely lock things up now. Sweet, so very back and forth game. Opponent can untap. Yep, that's fine. It's still lethal. Alright, sweet. I guess we needed all our powerful cards in that game. Mass Manipulation, High Alert, and the Angel to stay alive for an extra turn. Opponent had a good turn as well, with the Deputy exiling 2 of our Night Arbiters. That's about as good as it gets, considering we had High Alert in play, or in hand. Alright, this one, sadly, we're gonna have to ship back 3 5-drops to 6-drops with only 2 lands. It's a bit too greedy, even for me. This one's a bit more reasonable. And we'll keep a land on top. Is there a reason to play Watchdog here? Not really. I guess a counterspell would be a reason. But I don't really mind if the Watchdog gets countered if something else resolves. So yeah, they could quench the Watchdog here. So playing Plains into Guildgate would be better, but we could also draw into a 2-drop we wanted to play here. So I think this still makes sense. Opponent on blue-white Terramanders. Senate Courier is going to be a decent blocker here. Gateway Sneak is scary. Didn't see any of those in the draft. Do I think they will introduce something like sleeves for our cards? Personalization? Yeah, definitely something we might see in the future. I mean, they add the different card sleeves for the events already, so they have the technology. Alright, I think this is just a Vigilant Courier attacking for 1. I would prefer not to play the battlements. Oh, I did not mean to give it Vigilance twice. Well, I guess we're not representing a counterspell here. Alright, it did not end up mattering. So yeah, as I was saying, I don't think we want to play battlements, exiling a ton of stuff, because then Lawmage's Binding would be quite punishing. Much better to battlement after a Lawmage's Binding happens. So the question is, do we just play it out as a 4-5? Do we wait? Opponent's not doing anything. So they might be holding counterspells and summary judgments. I think we chill and just give it Vigilance once and attack. Am I aiming for Mythic? Not particularly. We're just playing some ranked at the moment, just because it's a bit faster paced. But personally, I actually prefer best of 3 draft. So that gets tapped. Still have the Watchdog to block the sneak, hopefully. Never mind. So they get to draw their card here. So my guess is they drew into the Guild Gate with the code, otherwise doesn't make a ton of sense to cycle it on the Courier. But Skyguard's pretty effective against Gateway Sneak, as it turns out, since if it doesn't have any power, it can deal any damage. And we're going to be very careful with the Skyguard. We've got Watchdog to protect it from a summary judgment. We might not want to tap it in certain spots. Uh-oh. Alright, looks like they had another... Oh, a Chillbringer, I see. Makes sense. Chillbringer and then another gate. So nothing special happened. I think we still wait on this battlement. Although it is tempting to just play a 4-5 Vigilance on this board, since it would attack pretty well. Do we want to play around the Lawmage's Binding is the question. I guess we'll play it, not exile anything. Still get to keep up Essence Capture here. The Watchdog has to protect the Skyguard here is the thing. And then let's say we do Essence Capture, where do we put the counter? Do we put it on the Skyguard or the battlements? Or maybe even the Courier? Like, the Courier just bounces off the Chillbringer, so it doesn't do much to put the counter on it. Well, I guess it would be a 4-powered creature after they adapt. So I guess having a 5 toughness blocker would be reasonable. So right now they have 1 instant in the graveyard, so they're 1 mana away from Terramander adapt. So I think Battlement is attacking. Do we attack with a Skyguard? I think we do want to attack, since their opponent's late game is probably stronger than ours, considering they've got all the gate synergies. And we could also Vigilance the Courier at that point, since we've got the mana too anyway. And the Watchdog is definitely a big help here. Alright, Slimebind the battlement. Yep, that's too bad. Not a reason to maybe wait on the battlement to get rid of something like a Slimebind or Lawmage's Binding, but oh well. So they take 3. And say go. And now the counter, I think, is going on the Courier for sure. Yeah, High Alert would still be amazing, since Slimebind does absolutely nothing against High Alert. Admonition. Alright. Could be annoying if they have a gate, which they probably do. Yep. Yeah, Gateway Sneak is a pretty strong card as it turns out. Mass Manipulation would be nice. Maybe Manipulation's a reason to hold the gate in hand so we can give Sneak unblockable if we steal it. But then again, having the untapped land in hand is also better for Manipulation, since then we can do it for more. So let's see, how much mana do we have? Yeah, I think we still play the gate, because that way we can... I mean, we'll start by playing Skyguard first, just in case they quench, so we can still play the 1 mana for Watchdog and play the Plains. Alright, now we'll play the Guild Gate, I think. That way if we top deck Manipulation, we can do it for 1 more. Could have also played the Plains to have both Watchdog and Essence Capture up, which is also reasonable. Now they can pump the Terramander, so we'll have to keep that in mind. Alright, so Griffin, I think we counter just to get the counter on Courier. It's not the most impactful creature. This is close. The problem is, if we let the Griffin resolve and next turn they pump Terramander, then we don't have a great way to deal with it if they never play another creature. But it's also maybe worth it to keep this for a Gate Colossus. I think I'm gonna go for it, just to have a bit more protection against this Terramander for next turn. Skatewing Spy is looking mighty fine. No real point in attacking with the Courier, could attack with the Skyguard. And then end of turn we can pump the Spy, or we can keep up our mana for the Watchdog, since we can do both here. Depends whether or not the opponent's tapped out. Alright, opponent does nothing. I think we'll just untap since we've got plenty of mana to use the Spy in our turn anyway. So now we can do it. Definitely want to do it before attacking in case of a Summary Judgment. Yeah, we just have to chill here. But our opponent also doesn't have any good attacks, so we kind of have to wait until we find a High Alert, a removal spell for Terramander, or a Mass Manipulation. Pretty much. Yeah, we do have the Watchdog to maybe blow up a double block, but the double block wouldn't even be all that great since we don't get to kill the Terramander. We would just be trading Watchdog for Chillbringer, which is not a trade we want to make. Opponent goes top, which is scary. So I don't love our position. Just depends whether we can top deck something here. Judgment doesn't do much. Alright, so it's kind of a waiting game. Opponent has drawn a few more cards than we did. They might have a removal spell for Skyguard or a bounce spell, which is why they kept the gate on top for Sneak. Or they might just want an extra gate in play for Angel. Sure. Gain 8 up to 20. Alright, that's a good one. And a Thought Collapse, that's great to have. Like, milling could definitely be a thing this game. We have a Wall of Lost Thoughts still in our deck and a Thought Collapse, which should put us ahead in the mill race. And now let's say we top deck Mass Manipulation, we might play around a counterspell if our opponent has mana up to keep up Thought Collapse afterwards. We'll have to wait and see. More gates. Man, the Sneak would have been such a problem if we didn't have the Skyguard. Ooh, Shark the Crab. Do we need to counter that? It becomes a 4/5 after it adapts. Can tap something down for a turn. I don't think it's a huge problem. Alright, Locket's not bad. So we can play Locket, sack Locket. Or we can sack it end of turn. The problem is if we sack it now, we'll only have 5 mana left over afterwards, which is not enough to play anything relevant with Thought Collapse backup, so we might as well do it end of turn here. With the fact that we have multiple 5 toughness flyers, I don't think Charter Crab is too scary. I mean, it's definitely annoying, but I think we need to keep this Thought Collapse for something more important. Law Mage's Binding. It's definitely annoying, but I don't think this is counter-worthy. Again, we want to keep this for something more impactful. Still have the Senate Courier as a blocker, and the Skyguard, so if they tap down the Courier, we can still block Angel or Chillbringer, and only take a bit of damage. So yeah, playing the Battlements on turn 5 or 6 did not really work out after the bind and well, the 2 binds, I guess. But at the time, it did make sense. At least we didn't exile any creatures to it. With Watchdog and Thought Collapse backup, I think we just want to make the obvious blocks, quote-unquote. Which means we can eat a Chillbringer for free, and then block a Terramander with a Courier, and hope they don't have an instant speed bounce spell. If they do, we probably will be forced to Thought Collapse it. Alright, Gift of Strength. Now we can just Summary Judgment. Our Homunculus is fine. Alright. Let's try and find a Mass Manipulation. Or a High Alert. There we go. Perfect. So now we're talking. Resolves. So, I guess we can give this Vigilance. They might tap it down with the Crab. I guess they don't have green mana up. Let's give this Vigilance. And this is attacking, and this might as well attack. That's fine, opponent takes 8. Play a Messenger, and still have Thought Collapse and Admonition up. Might see a Charter Crab activation here on the Courier. Could also Admonition our own Skatewing Spy and replay it. Got a few options here, but definitely want to keep up Thought Collapse as much as possible. Alright, opponent's gonna try and make some progress in the skies. Alright, just for 4, that's fine. No blocks. Dead Revel's getting 2 creatures back. That might be worthy of a Thought Collapse here. Alright, I'm gonna bite. Milling them at this point is also not irrelevant, although I guess they still have 15 cards left. They might fight over this. Alright, opponent has seen enough. Sweet. So our patience paid off. Alright, this hand's only 2 lands, but we've got Pegasus and Judgment as early interactive plays. Admonition can draw a card. I think this is a keep. Don't love having Manipulation in our opener, since it's a card we want to play late in the game. So it's kind of going to sit here for a while. But I think it's still a keepable hand. Play Pegasus, intending to block. If they have a combat trick, that's okay. Not too invested in the Pegasus. Alright, that means they can no longer adapt to hybrids, so it's going to be stuck as a 3-3. And now the Courier can block it. And it's just a 2-2 hybrid we have to worry about. Angel could be nice. So we could main phase Judgment on the other hybrid here, or we can just play Sphinx. I think I like playing Sphinx. And we can afford to wait a turn. So we've got a win condition, we've got a blocker, so don't hit our spot here. Our hand's pretty good as well. Feels like we're slightly ahead. 5 mana Skewer will deal with our Sphinx, sadly. Sky Tether, not necessary. So do we just bounce the 2-2 hybrids? Or do we kill it? I guess we can kill it now. Would be nice to cycle Admonition to hit our land drop. But this is a good opportunity to kill the hybrid, which is potentially going to be a 6-6, at which point Judgment's no longer good enough. And then we might as well get in. Alright, Sneak. They also showed the willingness to go pretty deep with their gates. And a Creeper. Creeper is definitely a problem, since it's big enough to get past Courier and Angel. So I think we'll start by bouncing Creeper. We might end up Sky Tethering it. I don't think we Sky Tether the Sneak, even though they could top deck a gate at any point. Probably want to keep it for the Creeper. Although I guess, yeah, the Creeper can still gain flying after we Sky Tether it. Was also an interaction that I should keep in mind. Ooh, they drew a Pump Spell, Gift of Strength. Fair enough. Alright, well, land was pretty important here. So we're gonna try and ambush with Angel. That's rough. 4-4 haste. So 11 down to 2. Ambush Sneak. Next turn, hopefully draw land so we can Battlement plus Sky Tether. What happens if we don't draw lands? Then we're just playing Battlement, 2 blockers at 2 life, and we would be dead. So does that mean we can't afford to block Sneak and we have to block Hybrid instead? Take 9 down to 4. That way if we don't draw land we still play Battlements. And then we still have 2 blockers. I think that does mean we have to ambush the Hybrid here, sadly. Would prefer to kill the Sneak, but it's just too risky if we don't draw land. Alright, we did draw the land as it turns out. Don't have quadruple blue for manipulation, but the Locket can help there. But I think that means we go Battlement, and then we can Sky Tether the Creeper, so we don't have to trade it off with the Angel. Although the Sneak could be annoying if they draw some more gates. Alternatively, we could Sky Tether the Sneak, play Battlement, trade off Angel for Creeper if they give it flying, and then Battlement blocks Randhorn. Kinda depends how long we want this game to go, and how much the Sneak is gonna affect the game. Definitely playing Battlements, and we're not exiling anything. I think I'll Sky Tether the Creeper. Enraged Ceratok. That's manageable. So we can mass manipulate for X equals 1. If we play the Locket, we can do it for 2 next turn, which is probably worth it. We do risk dying to a top-decked removal spell, but I think that's a risk we're gonna have to be willing to take. Because X equals 1 doesn't necessarily win us the game here. X equals 2 I think wins us the game on the spot. Yeah, Pump Spell also kills us, but they've already used Gift of Strength and Stony Strength. I guess it could have another Skewer on the splash. Yeah. Could also sack the Locket end of turn to try and draw land naturally. Alright, that doesn't matter. I think we don't sack the locket here, since if we miss on a land, that would be pretty bad. Alright, found a land anyway. So X is still only 2. And then we can steal Ceratok and Duranthorn, or we could steal Sneak and Ceratok. Could also steal the Creeper so the Angel can start attacking, because right now they can give Creeper flying and block the Angel. If we remove the Creeper, then Angel's free to attack and pressure them. We do still have a fair amount of gates in our deck. I think we have like 2 or 3 gates left. So I could see taking the Sneak and the Ceratok, and then instead of trying to win the game with Angel, we can try to outgrind the opponent with Sneak. Yeah, I think it works with timestamps, so Sky Tether removes flying, but if they give it flying afterwards, then it still has flying. Alright, Watchdog was a nice draw, so now we can attack with Angel. I think that's our only attack. Maybe should have sacked the Locket first to see if we were gonna draw a gate. Was probably worth it. Oh well. Opponent takes it. They might not know the interaction, to be honest. Yeah, I guess I'll sack the Locket now. But yeah, we should have done that before we attacked. And yeah, there's a gate, but we'll keep it for next turn. That's fine. Think we can still afford to attack here. Well, I guess they should have done that before blockers were declared. Let's draw some more, gain some life. And guess we'll play a wall. Keep up Essence Capture. Alright. So this game's going pretty well. If we can get a counter on the Angel, it also gets past the Creeper. Another gate's nice. Man, our deck would have been so good with a Gateway Sneak in it. I'm glad we got to experience the opponent's Gateway Sneak. I'm totally fine sacking the Watchdog here to save the Angel. Opponent's taking it. That's a good one too. Can keep that up at instant speed here. And I think we've got it pretty much locked up. Could be some crazy rares or mythics that can still get them out of this. And we'll put the counter on Angel. And that'll do it. Awesome. So it looked kind of dicey for a second there. Had to make the tough call of blocking the 3/3 instead of the Sneak, but in the end the Sneak ended up doing pretty good work for us. So even though they got to draw the extra card, it worked out. They had one turn to top deck a haste creature or a pump spell when we decided to wait on the manipulation, but I think it was worth it to wait. Alright, so 4-0, not bad. Alright, nice opening hand. Pegasus into Thought Collapse into some nice 5-drops. And Nexus of Fate is indeed banned in best of 1 only. Still playable in best of 3. Alright, so opponent played a Caracal. Can just play a Courier here. I don't think we're attacking with Pegasus. If they have a bounce spell for Courier, I don't want to take 3. Alright, Sentinel's Mark. So that's gonna hurt. But that's okay. Judgment's not gonna work on the Vigilance creature. It's probably worth it to Sky Tether here, get her 2 for 1. And we'll attack for 2. Keep up our counterspell instead of giving Vigilance. Opponent might have their own Summary Judgment here, but I'm fine if they kill the Pegasus. Summary Judgment pretty bad against our deck in general, since we have so many high toughness creatures. If they play their own Night Arbiter, I'll happily counter it. Don't really want to let them scry 3, draw 3 here. They get to mill 3 instead. Alright, this would have been pretty good. Alright, 5th land gets us some pretty nice cards. Opponent says go. And we can even flash an Angel end of turn here. Plays around a counterspell nicely. Yeah, Angel's pretty messed up. Opponent does nothing. So they're probably holding on to some counterspells, is my guess. Do we flash an Angel end of turn? I don't think we have to. Since their opponent's behind, they're the ones that have to do something here. And would be a bit silly to walk into a counterspell. Alright, Watchful Giant. I think we let that resolve, flash an Angel, and just try and race. And then could play another flyer, could keep up Essence Capture. Probably keeping up Essence Capture. Like, an annoying scenario would be where opponent plays a big flyer themselves to block the Angel, and then we might not have any good attacks. Like Chillbringer could be annoying. So I think keeping up Essence Capture is probably better, but could also see playing Sphinx just to play a bit better, since yeah, I guess we did kind of expect them to have Judgment in hand from the way they paused a few turns ago. Yeah, maybe not playing Sphinx was bad. Either way, we still have a 2-turn clock in the air, so I'm not too upset. The problem now is that they still have their counterspell up, so playing Sphinx is going to be somewhat difficult. But again, they're still behind here, so no real reason to panic. And if they Summary Judgment again, we can play Sphinx. Alright, so now do we want to do anything? We can't play Sphinx and keep up Essence Capture, sadly. So I think we just pass a turn. Summary Judgment end of turn would be annoying. But I'm pretty sure they have a counterspell in hand. Question is it Quench or Thought Collapse? I mean, it could also be an Essence Capture. I think we just say go. Alright, looks like a Summary Judgment end of turn. Or a Binding. Fair enough. So we can no longer deal lethal next turn, but... Ooh, alright. And now I guess we can. Would have been pretty effective here if we didn't have our Essence Capture up. So pretty happy we did. And there we go. So maybe made a mistake by not playing the Sphinx that one turn, in hindsight, since we did kind of have a read that they might have a Summary Judgment in hand. But it worked out in the end. Alright, 5-0, let's see if we can keep it up. And this is a nice opening hand, lock it into maybe Angel. Up against black-white. No 2-drop, so they're off to a slow start. Play a Locket. If we don't draw land, we'll play Sphinx. Otherwise, I think we're going to go with Angel. Maybe it is still Sphinx and trying to ambush with Angel. Problem is, it doesn't ambush the Grudian all that well. I guess we'll play the Sphinx here. Try and get a bit more value out of the Angel. Try and ambush something. Lines up a bit more poorly against a potential Grasping Thrall. That's the main drawback of playing Sphinx here. And considering they had a slow start, they're likely to have Grasping Thralls in hand. But we can always Sky Tether that one. Yep. So we can Sky Tether. Attack for 4. And now we can still go with the end of turn Angel. It's not going to ambush anything, but that's okay. Problem is we can't really ambush the Thrall because we don't want to attack into it with the Sphinx. Our opponent would just block the Sphinx with the Thrall is what I'm trying to say. So the Angel would not have a great opportunity to ambush the Grasping Thrall. Kaya, sure.
Nothing phases me.
Yeah, I guess that works.
You can rest in peace. Just do it somewhere else.
So, yeah, they had the opportunity to exile the Sky Tether and attack with the Thrall. Instead, they choose to play defense with the Thrall. So, I think we're just flashing an Angel anyway. And then sadly, we probably have to let the trade happen. Best case scenario, we find an answer for Thrall here. Final payments. Alright. That'll work. Alright. That plays. So do we care about killing Kaya, or do we just go face? Problem with going face is that they get to replay the Thrall, which drains us for 2 once again. So killing Kaya is probably worth it. See what we draw here. Alright. That way we get to keep the Angel in our graveyard. And then do we want to Judgment the Grudian? Problem is we don't have any great blockers for Grudian in our deck, so it's going to keep attacking us for 2 on the ground. So I think I will Judgment it. Alright, so we're a little bit behind here, I would say. Opponent has 3 cards in hand, we only have the High Alert, but we get to start drawing cards with Lockets here pretty soon. And I think I'm fine offering the trade if they want to. They are likely to accept since this has Vigilance. Could be bad if our opponent has a Dead Revels, but difficult to play around that one. Alright, Spy, can play it here. Blade Juggler for 5. That's fine. So we can pump this and then play High Alert as well to get in 1 extra point of damage. It's probably worth it over playing the Gate here. Even though that frees up 1 extra mana next turn when we maybe sack the Lockets. So got a 2-turn clock in the air. They're likely to have some more removal spells here. More Blade Jugglers. Alright. Do still have Angel of Grace in our graveyard. And we can also untap with High Alert. So I think we're fine to play Arbiter attack. And then High Alert can untap the Spy to give us an extra blocker in case they kill the Arbiter, which they do. Opponent says, oops. Alright. Sweet. Yeah, they might have forgotten about high alert interaction. Alright, 6-0. Let's see if we can get the last one here. This hand is probably keepable. On the draw, any land gives us admonition, which gives us an extra draw step. Courier is a good blocker. On the play, this would be a little sketchier, but happy to keep this on the draw. Playing's a good draw. Definitely want to play the island in case of essence capture. And turn 3 Spirit is fine. Gets blanked by the Courier. Lands would be acceptable here. Alright, I guess we'll cycle this admonition. And if they feel inclined to counter it, that's okay. Alright, quench, sure. So we'll stay back. And then hope to draw a land here. Got multiple turn 4 plays, or 4 mana plays. Multiple 5 mana plays. Another Spirit, alright. Still have 2 mana up. Alright. If they have their own essence capture, that could be problematic, since making Spirit into a 4-4 is quite a difference from a 3-3. And now we will be taking 3, sadly. So we are a bit behind, but not to a point where we can still come back. Alright, nothing, so not inconceivable that our opponent's holding on to a counterspell here. So what do we want to do? Do we just jam a 5-drop anyway, get it countered? Do we play Sphinx's Insight, which is the one we care least about getting countered? Can afford to take another 3 damage here. Alright. Play Guildgate. And our hand is looking pretty stacked. Just gotta make sure we don't get tempoed out before we get to deploy our hand. And now we've got Angel that we can flash in at instant speed, which plays nicely around counterspells too. Since if they counter it in their main phase, we can untap and resolve something. Could play around Quench by playing a 4-drop, but at this point they could easily have Assets Capture or Thought Collapse as well. Or maybe even Absorb, who knows. I think it is worth flashing in here just to try and ambush. But totally expect this to get countered. Yeah, they did indeed have an essence capture. Did take 1 more damage by playing it there. But if by some miracle they were just bluffing the entire time, we would have gotten a nice free Forbidding Spirit. Alright, so what do we want to resolve here? Don't have enough mana to double spell, sadly. So probably just want to play Skyguard, which is a card that impacts the board the most. Also expect Skyguard to maybe get dealt with, but if it's a Lawmage's Binding, then the effect still applies, which is all we want. So just a Spirit attacking. So this is somewhat risky to block with the Courier if they have instant speed bounce for the Skyguard here. But I also don't want to take 3. So I'll make them have it. That's fine. So opponent also maybe looking like a high alert deck. This is pretty nice, but I think we want to get some creatures in play here. I guess we can play 4-drop plus a high alert, or we can just play Knight Arbiter. Let's see what's best here. Could also go Spy plus high alert, or Messenger plus high alert. I think we play Arbiter, and if they do have an enchantment removal spell for the Knight, we can then, if it's a Slimebind, we don't care about it because we have high alert, and if it's Lawmage's Binding, we can gobble it up with the Battlement. And we'll still stay back with the Skyguard, I think. The problem with playing high alert is that if one of the removal spells is Slimebind, then they know about the high alert, so they will treat the Slimebind differently. If they decide to Slimebind right now, then it doesn't actually do much. But I could see being mana efficient there and playing 4+3 instead. Main phase Prying Eyes, that's fine. So their opponent maybe no longer holding counterspell, so they're fine tapping out main phase, which is fine by us. Our hand's pretty stacked, so I'm not too worried about playing a long game. Alright, ooh, Thought Collapse is great. So now it's time for high alert. And then I think we keep up Thought Collapse. Could also give Courier Vigilance. And we can always untap with high alert if we have to. Also can't forget about our Angel of Grace in the graveyard, which can maybe buy us an extra turn at some point. Opponent takes it. Alright, they're under quite a bit of pressure here. Skiriel's fine. And they're gonna adapt right away. And they're gonna concede. Awesome. So got all the way to 7 wins without picking up a loss. Ranked up. Nice. This was a pretty fun deck to play. And a Dovin's Acuity would have also been quite good in our deck. Alright, let's claim our prize. And crack some packs. Some gems. I guess the sad thing about opening gems now is that we can no longer pretend like this is a pack one pick one, since we don't know what the rare is. Oh well. Still happy they implemented the 5th card solution here, since getting 1% of the vault pales in comparison to getting 20 gems. But for now, I want to thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed, and as always, have a nice day. I also want to thank all my patrons for being part of the channel, and you can become a patron yourself today and decide the topic of future videos over at patreon.com/LegenVD.